Panthers 360. Hey, we are here at Baptist Health Iceplex. A very special guest today. Get your questions, comments in on the WPTV YouTube page. Jameson Olive, how are you, sir?
Great. Thank you for having me on.
For those not familiar with your work, a quick introduction of
Yes.
what you do for the Panthers, and we would love to talk to you about the up-to-date Panthers. They just finished practice here.
Yeah.
What a time. What a good time to have during a nice homestand, get some practices in. But exactly what you do for the Panthers, and so our viewers here at Panthers 360 can know about that.
So I've been with the Panthers over a decade, so I've ridden this to the top. It's been great from the bottom to the top. But basically, I'm the team's main in-house beat writer, so I cover the team, I travel with the team, I'm here at practice every single day talking about what the team's doing, but I also work in the digital space, so I also oversee the team's website and mobile app, so if you have any complaints on that, send those my way too. But no, anything in the digital space, like I said, I've been here a long time, I've picked up a lot of different jobs, and it's a great time to work and be a Panthers fan right now.
And right from the get-go, they're on social media and reporting. An attention-grabbing headline right now to be the first thing we talk about here on our analyst segment for Panthers 360 is we are nearing the return of Chucky, Matthew Tkachuk. We know that maybe he had his own on-ice skating, getting on the ice for the first time. By the way, the podcast he had with his brother is awesome.
Yes, Wingman, yes.
Wingman. What are you hearing internally here on the timeline? Because the whole Panthers fan base is just waiting for that moment.
Well, like you said, it's such a different, exciting time, very modern era of sports where Chucky will say something on his podcast with his brother Brady, then we bring that info to Coach and say, Coach, we heard on Chucky's podcast. So he did reveal that he has returned skating. He's been skating for about a week, which is great. Now, before you get too excited, that's just one checkpoint. There's many more checkpoints to go. It doesn't mean he's getting in there against the Maple Leafs on Tuesday or anything, but it's progress, and that's what you want to hear. And that's what we've heard ever since the beginning is there was going to be a lot of checkpoints. They'll let us know if he slows up at any point, if he hits a wall at any point. We haven't got there yet, which is great. Initial timeline was December-ish, so that could be December, that could be January, and it's still on track, it looks like right now for that. But we're talking to Paul Maurice, basically they're going to have him skate one day, off one day, skate one day, off one day, every day, just checking how he feels, getting a little bit stronger, getting a little bit back into his routine. Once he feels great, suddenly it's going to be 2 days on and then 1 day off. And you'll go from there. And then, when we do see him back with the team on the ice for practice, he'll be very close, which is great. So we know when he's on the ice for practice, it means there's not weeks at that point. It means he's getting very close. He'll be back soon. And obviously, when he does come back, it totally changes the complexion of how the Panthers look out there.
We've been through this before as a fan base as well. I mean, just last season, then when he came back, he knows he's getting thrown right into the fire, even in his own words. To be right there, high intensity.
He lives in the fire.
He lives in the fire.
Yes.
Okay, likes to. As a matter of fact, we did ask Coach Maurice about that. In fact, a clip provided by the Florida Panthers. Hear what Coach Paul Maurice says about the timeline about Matthew Tkachuk's return in his own words.
It was December, January is what we're told. It's still it's an 8-week window, but that's where these injuries are. He has to just hit a bunch of milestones before he can get pushed. I can't tell you when he's coming back.
Okay, so kind of non-committal answer, but it's okay. We know it's approaching sooner rather than later. But what's right on the horizon after we just saw this practice here, the fellas were getting after it today.
Yes.
Tuesday night, Toronto, first time we played them this season, and you really feel like, okay, we're really getting into gear now because we're playing not only our divisional rivals, but Toronto, who we have such a rivalry with right now. What are you expecting out of these next few home games in this homestand, and that game in particular?
That game in particular tomorrow against the Maple Leafs is going to be huge just because obviously it means something for the Panthers. They're tied in the standings. They both have 25 points. Maple Leafs have played one more game, so Panthers are ahead of them right now. But obviously for the Maple Leafs, there's already panic up in Toronto with how they're looking. And this could be one of those games similar to when Edmonton came to town where I think if Toronto loses, it's suddenly going to be, hit the button, doom and gloom, hit the alarm. Whereas if they win, the headlines are going to be, did they just turn the season around? As for the Panthers, we know what's holding them back. We know, they feel good about themselves. We talked to Aaron Ekblad this morning. He said, you feel comfortable with where you're at, but it doesn't mean you're satisfied. They know why they are where they are. They know where they need to be. They're confident they can get there. They have a plan. And obviously the 2 Stanley Cups makes it a lot easier to have seasons like this, whereas the Maple Leafs are still searching for something. They haven't won a cup in many, 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 many years. Obviously it's a new era. Mitch Marner's gone. They thought they'd be better off. They haven't been better off yet. So a lot has to go right, I think, for the Maple Leafs. But that being said, the Panthers are going to come into this game with the exact same mentality. Those playoff rematches, we always see the Panthers at their best, whether it's the Bruins, whether it's the Hurricanes, whether it's the Maple Leafs. That's when we usually see, the Panthers looking like the Panthers, even when they're missing these guys.
Rising to the occasion. And, panic button being pressed in other franchises. I mean, other franchises don't have a lot of players coming back. Like we know we have Kachuk coming back. And, on the distant horizon, okay, Kulikov, Gadjevich, everybody else. But when a team like Toronto or other teams, like they don't have a stable of guys that are injured that are coming back to give that kind of hope in the season. So an important game nonetheless, and I'm sure it'll be fiery there at Amerant Bank Arena. We kind of touched on this already, but a couple of disappointing losses back to back. Sometimes it happens like that against the Flyers, just bang, bang, the game's over. Like, you're winning. And then Calgary Flames, I think the fellas got off to a hot start. Is that the ebb and flow of this season right now? Is it just living in that danger zone every game? And the fans seem to be really locked in right now. It's the quest for a three-peat. It's after, so maybe more locked in than the previous seasons 4 or 5 years ago.
Paul Maurice has talked about this, and basically the Panthers this season, they can't impose their will is the word he used, the term he used for this season, just with the pieces they're missing. They can still win any game, they can still beat anyone, but they can't just show up to a game and just steamroll whoever they're playing. They don't have the depth they used to have. That being said, they know they still can win every game. When you look at these recent losses, it's not like they were blown out of the water.
Right.
And they're at the point now where they can play a great 55 minutes, but those bad 5 minutes are going to cost them. So they know they have to clean that up. Like we saw, it's been a lot of bang-bang plays the other way suddenly. And they're also figuring out how to play with what they have. And they, like I said, they have a lot of good pieces still, but it's going to look different. And Paul Maurice has talked about, how much can we sacrifice here to get better here? There's a balance. Every single game they're trying to figure this out. And, they know they have the pieces. That's the challenge. And they should be fine moving forward, especially with this homestand. These home games are big. We talk about the lack of depth. That hurts more on the road when you don't have last change, when the team can kind of dictate the matchups. At home, the Panthers don't have to worry about that, and they feel a lot more comfortable. That's why their home record is a lot better than their road record right now.
A little more comfortable. So the weather's nice down here.
The weather's nice too. Everyone feels great coming to the rink in shorts.
Director of Digital, you are on top of all the trends right now. Like, what is hot and what's working with the Panthers online? And because you have to change this seemingly every month, and sometimes even sooner than that. We know that in the news business as well. What are you seeing now that's working and people are really latching on to?
I work directly with our social team. They're all great people. We have a big staff here. When I say social, I don't just mean the people posting on all the platforms, but also the videographers that make the stuff that go up there. And I'm amazed every day with what they come up with, because even me, I'm my late 30s now, and there's a lot of stuff happening.
You're not throwing around 6'7".
I'm not throwing around 6'7". I'm aware. You have to be aware of it, but I can't explain it. But no, I think the biggest thing now, more than anything, is just access. People want access. People want to see these guys. Whether they're driving around the BMWs like we were just talking, the podcast.
Love that, by the way.
Yes.
When you're riding with the players.
Love to do that. No one's crashed yet. It's been great. Knock on wood. But we can't handle another injury like that.
No.
But you look at whether it's a mini mic, whether it's just interviewing guys after games about things that aren't hockey. I think people just enjoy the access, and I think for the Panthers, fans have had more access than ever recently. Not only from what we've done internally, but in the playoffs, they have all the behind-the-scenes shows. The Amazon show, Face Off. So people are seeing more than the Panthers have ever had, but it's not enough. You want more, and that's great. We love that, and obviously with the Winter Classic coming up, there's going to be a lot more of that as well. So whether it's internal, external, we're always just trying to show fans just more of what the Panthers are behind closed doors.
You're not only here with the team at home, you travel with the team as well, which has to be interesting on long road trips. When you wake up, it's game day. You've got to get your ducks in a row with the digital team and everybody posting. What is your game day routine like from crack of dawn until you go to bed?
So basically, on the road, we do have a very set schedule. And obviously, there's the player schedule and our schedule. We kind of work around that. But every day, that is your Bible, basically, on the road. It's what you follow. It's what you go by. And I remember the first time I started traveling many years ago when I was a much younger guy. I was 15 minutes early to everything. Just didn't want to get in anyone's way. Didn't want to make any mistakes. But nowadays, you basically wake up. You get ready for what you're going to do a morning skate, especially on the road. You're busing everywhere. So you got to make the bus, you got to get to morning skate, knock out your interviews, get ready for all that, knock out the preview, get back on the bus, can't miss any of the buses. And then in the middle of the day, it's basically knocking out your game preview. We do a game preview podcast as well, working with Doug Plagans, our great play-by-play man on the radio.
He's been right here on Panthers.
He's been here, friend of the program. So we do that, and then also, like I said, I also do the web and app. So whatever I can squeeze in for those in the middle of the day, I got to squeeze in, and then before you know it, you're back on the bus, usually around 4:30, heading to the rink. You get to the rink, you find out where you're going, you go up to the press box, you get settled, you talk to the opposing media, some of the opposing staff. You've been in this game long enough, you get to know other people's staff, so you connect, and then you just get ready for the game. live tweet the game, work on your story as you're going, get in the locker room, post-game interviews, knock it out. And then a lot of times we're on the go, so you're finishing that story on the bus or on the plane trying to beat takeoff a lot of the times with your Wi-Fi before you lose it.
Yeah.
So it's fast-paced. You don't have a lot of time. You look at a full day, you think, oh, it's probably a lot of downtime. There is not a lot of downtime.
It's a long day.
It's a long day. And that's an average day. It's not even it's anything out of the blue crazy day. Yes.
Wow.
It's wonderful. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Do you have any superstitions like, okay, we won when I did this, and you stick with that for the next couple of games?
I have one superstition
Yes,
that I still
here we
stick to. It's not a day-to-day thing, but so for my wedding a couple years ago, I got a suit, just a pretty simple navy suit, so I can wear it outside the rink. And then after that, of course, we went to the final that year. We got married, and then back-to-back cups, and I wore that suit for Game 7 of the first cup, Game 6 of the second cup, and also our trip to the White House. So that suit has been everywhere. So that is the lucky suit. It's the special. Whenever I have to retire, whenever it gets too ripped up, probably got to frame it or something with some photos, because that is the lucky suit. It gets the job done.
Whatever it is, a lucky suit, a special.
It's been soaked in beer a lot of times with all the celebrations, and it survives. It keeps coming back.
Has it been dry cleaned at least?
Yes, a lot of dry cleaning.
We're good to go
Yes.
on that. Okay. Listen, Jameson Olive, thank you so much for your time. If you're watching this right now, you can get questions and comments in. We'll answer that from the Panthers 360 staff. This is always on our WPTV News YouTube page. And again, you can watch Panthers 360 every Wednesday night on South Florida's 9 at 7:30. One more time with the handshake.
Thank you so much.
Get ready to wear that suit again in a happy season ending
Yes.
here for the Panthers.
Can't wait,
All
can't
right,
wait.
here we go. Thank you for joining us, guys. We'll see you soon.